Guys, welcome in. Here we go. Another week college football, and we got ourselves a doozy in the SEC. Arkansas taking on Mississippi State. This is going to be Saturday, noon Eastern time kickoff. Here we are, Kevin Dolan, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And Kev, let me send it to you here, my man. SEC battle. Who are you leaning towards in this one?
Well, could we see another 52-6 blowout here, Joe? Both teams' biggest ever margin of victory in this series. You get good odds on that. I doubt it, obviously. But, nonetheless, both teams are getting it done offensively this year. Both teams putting up an average of 425 or more yards per game this season. Arkansas ranking 8th in the country this year as well in total rushing yards. They're putting up 238.8 yards per game on the ground as well. And at the other end, the Bulldogs are getting it done through the air, putting up 346.6 yards per game on average. That's the 7th highest mark in the nation. So, definitely plenty to like about how both teams are operating this season on offense. But for me, I got to roll with the Bulldogs in this one. Arkansas have simply failed, to keep opponents in check this season through the air. And, that's a major worry for me, especially when you're about to face one of the most prolific passing offenses in the country right now. The Razorbacks allowed 357 yards through the air against Missouri State 3 weeks ago. They allowed 377 yards against South Carolina the week before that, 325 against Cincinnati the week before that. So, they have been switched on a little better over recent games, but even so, Alabama were just able to turn around and punish them on the ground. Instead, 555 total yards of offense in that game for the Tide, 317 on the ground, 10.8 yards per pass attempt through the air. So, those numbers are probably reason enough to worry, but the fact that they came against non-elite passing offenses as well, Cincinnati ranked 52nd on overall completion percentage this season. South Carolina ranked 48th on total yards per pass attempt as well. So to give up those kind of pass numbers through the air when you're about to face the country's leading pass and touchdown scorer this season in Will Rogers, you'd have to imagine the Bulldogs can rack up some serious numbers in this game. So I agree with the early line movement here. I do believe Mississippi State is the side in this one, and I think they win this one by double digits on Saturday down in Starkville.
All right, awesome stuff. And Merrill, is certainly the markets have no shortage of money coming towards Mississippi State. Opened up at 4. We've seen this thing skyrocket to as high as 8, 8.5. Do you agree with the market move?
Well, a lot of it's an injury move. Redshirt quarterback KJ Jefferson had started 18 consecutive games, was removed in that Alabama game on Saturday. And they won't say if he's in concussion protocol or not, but he's listed as questionable according to head coach Sam Pittman. So a lot of uncertainty, at least as we're doing this video early in the week, what the status of the starting quarterback is going to be for Arkansas. So I do think that's a lot of the reason we've seen some early money come in on Mississippi State. So we'll have to see the quarterback situation before being really concrete on this game. But on the surface, it's not a good spot for Arkansas. In fact, you could say it's a terrible spot for Arkansas because, first of all, they're not only coming off back-to-back losses, but they're tough losses. I actually talked about the Alabama-Arkansas game here in the air last week on the college football show. We did that on Thursday. I'll be on Thursday afternoon again this week with you, and I think we actually might be talking about this game again on the show. But, Arkansas-Alabama was a huge game for Arkansas, but it was a tough spot coming into that game as they're coming off the 23-21 loss, the narrow loss on a neutral field in Texas against Texas A&M. That itself made the setup tough, and then it was actually a much closer game than the 49-26 final indicated. I mean, Arkansas actually had a chance to win that game in the second half, let alone cover easily as a 17-point dog, and they just kept giving up the explosive big 60, 70-yard touchdown plays to Alabama. I was actually on in-game live, as is in the name, with Cam Stewart at the time, and Cam kept in-betting that game, and he was going totally crazy, as you can imagine, Joe ripping his hair out with Alabama scoring instantly. And I really felt like that's when you could see Arkansas fatiguing from the past week and a half, and now it's been 2 straight weeks of tough games, and maybe without their quarterback. We'll keep an eye on the injury report, but right now I can understand why that money's coming in on Mississippi State.
All right, guys, don't forget you can visit both Steve Merrill and Kevin Dolan over at WagerTalk.com. Take advantage of their college football packages. Both have been unbelievably profitable this year as well as years past. Get involved now. Visit both Steve and Kevin over at WagerTalk.com.